First of all, welcome to KastKing 10th anniversary celebration. Okay? And in addition to celebrating 10 years in the industry, which is kind of a little blip in time, we're also going to be showing you and sharing with you today some of the most important new product launches in the history of KastKing. We're very excited about that. We also do know, and I've mentioned to a couple of you already, that we recognize this is a very busy week at the Bassmaster Classic. I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm going to try to move through this as quickly as possible, but I want to get you the most important details. First of all, my name is Al Norker. I am the president of B.A.S.S USA and KastKing Fishing. 10 years ago this month, in fact, March 15th, 10 years ago, KastKing was first incorporated into the state of New York by our founder and our visionary, if you will, Tate Sweet. Now, Tate was attending the University of Syracuse on an invited scholar program in the MBA area. After graduation, he went on to work for a company you'll probably recognize, not in the fishing industry, but Estee Lauder Corporation, one of the world's largest fragrance and franchise cosmetic companies. Now, Tate is the one who started the e-commerce business for Estee Lauder, and I have to say, extremely successful. In fact, Tate was on a really fast track to success within that huge international corporation. But he quickly decided he didn't want to work for somebody else. Anybody else feel like that here? Okay. He did not want to work for somebody else, build somebody else's brand, and build wealth for somebody else. He wanted his own company, and he wanted to build his own brand. And that's exactly what he did. In fact, it was right at that time when he left Estee Lauder that B.A.S.S and Outdoors and the brand KastKing was created and born in a very small little garage space in Long Island, New York. And as they say, the rest is history. Now, Tate started the KastKing brand on an e-commerce, direct-to-consumer basis, focusing mostly on, in fact, entirely on Amazon and his own DTC website, KastKing.com. The very first product sold under the KastKing brand was fishing line. Why? Well, a couple of easy reasons. Again, in the e-commerce area, fishing line is easy to ship, highly consumable, and what does every angler in the world need to have to go fishing? You got to have fishing line along with a couple other things. But fishing line was a great way to start the company. So today, if you were to look at our business, fishing line is still a core business strategy for KastKing. As a matter of fact, we still sell more fishing line online than any other brand. Not everybody knows that. But fishing line is and will always be a core strategy for KastKing. Okay? In a few minutes, I'm going to introduce two new introductions into the fishing line category. But before we do that, I want to talk about a couple other things. And in addition, I'm going to introduce you and make a major announcement about a new player, a new pro team member in the fishing line category. Now, as Tate began to build this business, and it grew very, very quickly, okay, he knew that he had limited knowledge within the fishing space. So what did Tate do? He went around the industry and he started recruiting industry leaders and experts in areas like product development, merchandising, engineering, logistics, marketing, and sales to help support him because he knew he couldn't do it himself. Today, even though KastKing is only a 10-year-old company, we are a company small in size, big in experience. In fact, over 150 years of experience within the KastKing company today, driving our direction, even though we're only 10 years old. Now, one of the things he also recognized was that he wanted his company to be a leader in the fishing tackle industry. And to do that, he had to quickly get the word out about KastKing and that brand. How are you going to do that in a very competitive environment? Difficult to do. So we needed support, especially on the social media side. We also needed to be recognized as a leader in the industry by utilizing professional fishing pros. So we started building our team of KastKing Pro Team. In addition to that, we had professional guides from Alaska all the way down to Florida, dozens of them, focusing on using KastKing products as they go on and build their business. Okay? They also knew that those professional fishing guides would touch a lot of consumers that would enjoy the experience of using KastKing products while they were on a guide trip, and later they would buy that product themselves. In addition to that, we have hundreds of brand ambassadors, social media, influencers, key influencers within the community, and their job is to explain the features and benefits of all of our product and talk to the consumer about why KastKing offers the best value, performance, and features of any product on the market. And we truly will put our products up against anybody. Today, our KastKing Pro team starts with a few of the people that we have in the room today. Okay? These are Major League Fishing pros, Bass Pro Tour, such as Cliff Crochet, Brett Chapman. They're both here. If you guys just stand and just wave at everybody real quick, I definitely want to recognize these guys because Brett was our very first pro. Cliff came on right after that, but they've been with us for years now, and we really enjoy having them on board. In addition to those two gentlemen, we have James Elam. Okay? He couldn't be here today, and Skeet Reese, a name that you all know. Now, as recognizable as they are, right? Everybody in the room probably knows Cliff Crochet because of who he is, and Brett Chapman because of all the success he's had over the years. There are literally hundreds of other fishing professionals across the country utilizing KastKing products today as they chase their dream in taking a role like Cliff and Brent and Skeet and James at the highest levels in fishing. And that might be crappie fishing, that might be bass fishing, could be walleye tournament guys. We have Dylan Nussbaum also on the team, the youngest ever NWT champion in the walleye world, and even in catfishing. Okay? These are very, very important guys. But all of those other people have come so far in pressing forward the KastKing brand when it comes to the consumer. Now, our business strategy, as I've already explained, started on a DTC, direct-to-consumer, e-commerce-based business model. Once you make that decision to change that, that becomes very difficult, right? And why do you make that change? There's one simple reason. The consumer demanded that. This is a big change that's happened over the last 3 years. Here's what happened. We would go to these consumer shows, Bassmaster Classic, Red Crest, various other consumer shows all around the country. And the customer would talk to us at the shows, they would send us emails, they would call us at our 800 number, and they'd say, we absolutely love KastKing, but you know, we also kind of like shopping in the biggest retailers who are right next door, okay? When are your products going to be available at retail? Not only did they call us, but they called some of the biggest fishing retailers in the country, Walmart or Academy or Sportsman's Warehouse, Tackle Warehouse. All of these retailers were getting phone calls. In fact, I remember the day I got a phone call from Kevin Price at Tackle Warehouse, and he said, Al, I'm getting inundated with phone calls and emails about why I'm not stocking KastKing product in my assortment. Well, I learned a long time ago, when the customer tells you something, what do? You better listen. You're foolish if you don't listen to what the consumer is asking you for, and we did that. I'm very proud to say that today, we are in many of the major retailers across the country on a small, limited basis right now, but it's growing very quickly. Welcome, gentlemen. Please join us. And as a matter of fact, over the last 30 days, we've just added 2 new retailers to our assortment of customers, and we're very proud of that, but that's growing very quickly. And I want to explain to you also one of the reasons we're able to do that as a young company. And that has to do with not only the products that we're offering to the consumer, but our ability to get our products to them in an effective way. The way we're able to do that is we're working with 2 of the major wholesale distribution outlets in the country. One is Big Rock Sports, okay? And the second, who we have represented here today, I'm very proud. We've got Jim and Chris, and we've got all kinds of guys here today from Pittman Creek Wholesale. Now, I'm really proud of the relationship we've built with Pittman Creek, because when it comes to bass fishing, Pittman Creek is simply the best. They focus their customer base on the bass fishing market, and that's what our core strategy is bass fishing reels, rods, line, and so forth to support that. So we have a very good relationship with Pitt and Creek these days, and we're moving forward very quickly with that. But I do want to emphasize that it wasn't an easy transition to go from a direct-to-consumer business model to a retail business model. That is something that is only, we only have the ability to do that because of those type of partners and because of the experience that we have in this room. In fact, you'll see many of our players at the back of the room here. These are the guys that make it happen every day at KastKing. We're really proud of that team. So I'm not going to go too much more into history. I will be available after the meeting if you have any questions about any of those details. I'm happy to answer anything that you want. But we're going to move into why you're really here today, and that is to see the exciting new product that we're launching here at the Bassmaster Classic in 2023. First and foremost, we have a brand new reel that has been used by some of our pros already, introduced tomorrow, available for sale starting tomorrow. We're not waiting 6 months, it starts tomorrow, and that is the new KastKing Mg12 Elite casting reel. Let me tell you a little bit about this casting reel. First of all, the Mg12 is a full magnesium frame reel. It weighs 4.8 ounces. 4.8 ounces. Carbon side covers. This is an 11+1 ball bearing reel, 7.5 to 1 gear ratio, and it does feature our new, brand new, patented A.M.B. braking system. What I like to tell people about the A.M.B. system is this is a reel that, because of that braking system, virtually anybody can cast. It's a dual brake system that is virtually a smart reel. It knows how to adjust itself based on spool speed and inertia to control any overruns and braking. It is a very small frame reel. They're right over here. I encourage you to step up afterwards and put one in your hand at 4.8 ounces. You'll certainly recognize that immediately. But not only that, it's only 36.5 millimeters tall. It is truly a palm-sized reel with full line capacity. The spool itself weighs only 0.3 ounces, but it still has 15.4 pounds of drag, and it's a carbon chip. These main gears are aluminum 7075 anodized, and it does feature another new patent technology we have, which is the low friction tapered vortex line guide. Basically what that line guide allows you to do is lay the line very accurately and smooth across the face of the spool, but at extremely high speeds as it exits the spool. So you have longer casting distance. And the handle is a standard 90 millimeter frame. That's the new Mg12 Elite and one of our Master Series collection reels. Next up, the Kestrel series. Now, The Kestrel casting reel shares the same frame as the Mg12. They're both magnesium frame reels, extremely lightweight. In fact, the Kestrel reel is the lightest bait casting reel in the world at only 4.4 ounces. The reason it is slightly less, there's two reasons. One is the handle size is a little bit shorter. This is a true BFS technology reel, okay? And I'm sure everybody here understands what I say when I say BFS, that's bait finesse system. There's a big movement for people who want to fish finesse techniques within the industry or any different environment, but they don't want to use a spinning reel. They want to throw a casting reel. Here is a reel now that has a shallow spool design, and you'll see it right over here. Weighs only 0.2 ounces for that spool, okay? And a little bit shorter handle. It is a very small feeling reel. A little bit less line capacity, but now here's a reel that you can cast lures down to 1/8 of an ounce, 1/16 of an ounce, or even 1/32 of an ounce with a bait casting reel with controlled braking. Now the braking system on this has to be a little bit different, right? Because that spool design is very shallow and it's hollow in the center. So we had to develop another new technology as far as the braking system, okay? It's called the fly-out arc design braking system. And I'm glad to show you that in detail afterwards as well. Now remember, all of this technology, KastKing is truly a technology company. We don't buy anything from the open market. There's a lot of reel brands out there that buy reels that are available, make them look like theirs. Every reel that we sell and design is engineered in-house. In fact, we have 4 on-site reel engineers that have over 80 years of experience, over 50 years of experience designing and engineering, tooling reels from the ground up. Our employees, not outside. Okay? This reel is 4.4 ounces. It also has 11+1 ball bearings. Faster gear ratio, 8.4 to 1 on the BFS frame. The fly-out arc, finesse, auto-adjusting braking system, as I mentioned before. Same 36.5mm tall frame, a 0.2 ounce bait finesse aluminum spool. You're going to love that spool when you put it in your hands. It's amazing. It has a little bit less drag than the Mg12. Still 13.2 pounds of drag, and it has an audible clicker. You'd be surprised how many people are asking us about an audible clicker, especially on a BFS frame reel. Same 7075 aluminum main gear, same line guide system, but it has a very small carbon fiber handle with a new design for the handle paddles. So, and by the way, I'll just mention this both about the Kestrel Elite and the Mg12. The early response from some of our pros that are here with us today, in fact, I received a phone call from Skeet Reese after his first day in the Major League Fishing event this week. And he said, Al, I have never casted anything like that Mg12. He was throwing tiny little crankbaits, and he said he was casting them 50% further than he'd ever been able to cast a small crankbait with any other reel that he's used. And he's used a lot, including the ones that I used to make for him when I was a rugby gill. But he just went on and on about the Mg12 and how it was a game-changing reel. Now, next up in our master collection, this is a complete series of reels, and one that we are extremely proud of. And I've got a special story to tell you about this. But the Speed Demon Elite series, casting reels, there's really 3 in one. They all share the same aluminum frame. The first one is the Speed Demon Elite High Speed Reel. This is truly the fastest gear ratio casting reel in the industry at 10.5 to 1. You're picking up 42 inches of line with a single turn of the hand. 10+1 ball bearings. It's also available in an 8.6 to 1 if you want something slower. So exactly the same reel, 10.5 or 8.6. It has a centrifugal braking system, but we've added one more thing to it. And you'll notice that right here. This is called the Demon Eye, which allows you to micro-adjust the centrifugal braking pressure after you've set the pins to where you want it to be. Again, 42 inches of turn, a pickup for every single turn of the handle on the 10.5 reel, 90mm handle. It's a workhorse. This is a fast, powerful, strong reel. Next up within the Speed Demon series is the skipping pitching version of the Speed Demon Elite. Now, this reel features a shallow spool. It's a little hard to see it in the image. I have one right here that you're welcome to take a look at. Everything else is the same except for the gear ratio. Gear ratio is just available in only 8.6 to 1. Everything else is the same. But now this is a reel that you can use skipping and pitching baits under docks and such without the worry about the overruns because of that shallow spool technology. Become very popular very quickly. Good friend Cliff Crochet back here brought this idea to me. He's been using our reels now, he just told me, in 3.5 years, almost 4 years. And he said to me one day, he says, God, Al, I love your reels, but do me a favor, take the drag off. I said, what the heck are you talking about, take the drag off? He says, listen, first thing I do with every reel, and remember, he's a power fishing guy, flipping, pitching, frogging, all that stuff, heavy cover, wood, structure, mats, big pads, all that, 65-pound braid, the big sprawly rods, everything is power. So the first thing I do is I crank my drag as tight as I can go, and sometimes I take a pair of pliers. Now that scared the hell out of me, as soon as he talked about pliers to the drag. Here's the problem with that, and virtually every angler fishing those conditions does that same thing. They tighten the drag all the way down. The problem is, almost nobody backs it off at the end of the day. And what happens after you leave a drag tightened down and compressed? You have no drag. And unlike the deadbolt, that drag just goes backwards and you have no power. Okay? So what he said is just take the drag off. I thought he was crazy to begin with. Probably is a little crazy, actually. But that's a whole other story. Okay? We tried it. We tried it actually on a different frame to begin with. And we just took the whole braking system. There is no star drag on this reel. That reel will not go backwards. When you set the hook on this reel, big rod, big line, big fish, covered in moss, that fish is coming to the boat. Or he's going to take the rod out of your hands. It's not going to happen to those guys. That fish is coming to the boat. It will not go backwards unless it breaks. But we had to make sure it didn't break, right? So we beefed everything up internally. The gears are stronger, thicker, all aluminum frame. In fact, I even had to make the handle on this reel 30% thicker because Cliff started bending the handles on the first models that he got. He'd set that hook so hard and it didn't go backwards, it didn't slip at all. He was cranking down that, he's bending handles. Okay? So we made the handle 30% thicker. This is one of my favorite new toys. This is the Speed Demon Elite Deadbolt. Love the name, love the concept, and it's catching on fire in the professional crowd. We sell them every place we go, and it's one of the hottest new things out there. Let's move quickly now to the Speed Demon Elite spinning reel. Up until last year, this was the fastest gear ratio spinning reel in the industry at 7.4 to 1. Okay? I think somebody has one now that's like 1/10 faster. Okay, darn it. We're working on that. Okay? But the Speed Demon Elite spinning reel is an awesome reel if you're looking for a high-speed gear ratio reel. And a lot of guys are. When they're fishing smallmouth, when they're fishing a lot of different things where you want a fast line pickup, you want to catch up to a hot fish coming right at you at the boat. There's a lot of reasons, slack line techniques. that you need a high-speed gear ratio reel, this one will do it. Again, 42.1 inches of line retrieve with a single turn of the handle, aluminum frame, 17.5 pounds of carbon disc drag, aluminum main gear, Braid ring aluminum spool, really comfortable handle knobs. This is the Speed Demon Elite spinning reel, part of the whole Speed Demon Elite series, and again, part of the Master Collection. Next up, and very exciting, okay? Just introduced Mega.Jaws Elite, okay? Both casting and spinning. Let's first talk about the casting version of the Mega.Jaws Elite. First of all, we tried to put the kitchen sink into this, a true tournament quality reel for the enthusiast, but it's only $139. $129, excuse me, $129, okay? Aluminum frame, 6.4 ounces, 11 plus 1 ball bearings. Comes with 2 gear ratios, 7.2 and 9.1. Next year we'll also have it in 8.2. It was the first reel we launched with the new AMB dual brake system, our patented automatic braking system. It's the first one. Flipping switch. Now, I grew up with a flipping switch 30, 40 years ago, okay? I liked it, not for flipping and pitching, but I liked it for vertical presentations. When I was going over various depths and I wanted to be able to move line down without reactivating gears, okay? So we did add a flipping switch to this reel as well. So dual brake, aluminum spool or aluminum frame, flipping switch, carbon drag, all the good stuff. This is the new Mega.Jaws Elite baitcaster reel. I'd love to have you pick it up. They're beautiful. They cast incredibly. One of our new tournament reels. 3 gear ratios, 2 right now, 1 more coming next year. And then you go with that, the new Mega.Jaws Elite spinning reel. One of my favorites. I'm kind of a spinning guy, even though I'm really getting into the light bait finesse fishing now with casting reels because of what we've done with the MG and the Kestrel. But I still love a spinning reel for certain applications. This is my go-to reel right here. If I'm not looking for that really high-speed 7.4 to 1, Mega.Jaws Elite, available in 3 sizes, a 2000 and a 3000 with standard spool, braid ready, and a 2500 series with a shallow spool, not braid ready on that one. All aluminum frame, carbon rotor, but here's the difference in this. Most spinning reels are designed with a stabilizing bar that supports the mainstay, the main shaft, to keep it running true and smooth. This reel actually has dual stabilizer bars, above and below. When you pick this reel up and you give it a spin, you'll understand how smooth a reel can be because of the dual stabilizing bars. The other big change in this reel, this is our first one that we've engineered with what we call a unibody or a one-piece frame construction. Keeps everything perfectly in line between that and the dual stabilizing bars, which you have is one of the smoothest reels in the industry, and at only a $139 retail. That is the new Mega.Jaws Elite spinning, 3 different sizes. Okay, I promised you earlier that I was going to talk to you about one of our core strategies, and that is the new introductions in fishing line. Still very important for us. And I also told you that I was going to make a major announcement today about a new partner we have as part of our KastKing Pro team. Let me start with that, because it's quite important. In January, I was introduced to a gentleman that may had an interest because he kept hearing about all the new technology that KastKing was coming out with in the fishing line category. And his name is Bill Dance, the GOAT, Bill Dance. I mean, would anybody here argue with me that Bill Dance is probably the best known freshwater, maybe saltwater fisherman in America today? You know, over the last 50 years, he's probably appeared on more television shows, been involved in more social media than virtually everybody out there. Well, right after the Big Rock show, I made a trip down to just outside of Memphis, Tennessee, and I spent a whole day with Bill, showed him the new technology. Within a couple of weeks after that, we came to an agreement. He left the company that he'd been with for 43 years with fishing. Pretty significant, okay? And came to KastKing for 4 different lines. The first line that he's going to be using is our new hammer braid. We're going to explain in just a minute. Made in the USA, tough, durable, 4-carrier braid. The second one he'll be using is the new 13X Finesse braid. And if you haven't tried our 13X Finesse for either spinning reel applications or bait finesse applications, you're missing out. It's one of the greatest braids in the industry. Next up, he had to have a fluorocarbon. So our new Covert Extreme fluorocarbon, 100% fluorocarbon, he'll be using that. And in addition to that, something brand new technology in the monofilament category, I'm going to explain that in just a minute, called TriPolymer Advanced Monofilament. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about hammer braid. And first of all, I just want to say, Bill couldn't be here today. Okay? He really wanted to come, but when I talked to him the other night, he had just finished 30 days in a row fishing in Florida. Now, I think we all know Bill is not the youngest guy in the room, right? Okay? I don't think I've ever fished 30 days in a row, and certainly not filming television shows. That's pretty epic, I would say, that he was out there on the water for 30 days. And I got to tell you, it was all with KastKing line, and starting with his shows in 2023, everything in his television show, both Bill Dance Outdoors and Bill Dance Saltwater, will be featured with KastKing fishing line. Okay, let's talk a little bit about hammer braid. Made in the USA #1. Okay, and I wanted to just mention this real quick too, because as part of the process that we've gone through to recruit some of the most important people in the industry with a knowledge base that is unprecedented, the gentleman that happened to help us build this line is right at the back of the room here. Okay, his name is Rex Nelson. Rex was president and spent 31 years with Western Filament Company. He is the designer of hammer braid. He probably forgot more about braided fishing line than anybody in this room has ever known. So we truly have an expert when it comes to braided fishing line technology. This is a microfilament process. Extremely thin for a 4-carrier aggressive braid. It is a diamond pattern 4-carrier braid. But here's the big difference. Most 4-carrier braids, we measure how many times the braid crosses itself in every inch of line by PPI, or picks per inch. Most of the braids out there, 4-carrier style, have a PPI, or a tightness rating, of around 18 PPI. Hammer braid is 24 PPI, so it immediately gives you that tighter lead, softer feel, faster through the guides, a little quieter. Okay? Here's the next big change. We call it EPC, or Engineered Proprietary Coating. Most braids out there get their color after they're braided. It's a top coat. And you've all experienced it when you're adding line to a reel, or you simply take that line, squeeze it through your fingers, and there's color transfer. That's because of the top coat color that goes on after the process. All of our filaments are pre-colored prior to the braiding process. You do not get that color transfer. You do not get that fading that you get with most of the other lines out there. Our line has a smoother surface, quieter, longer casting. It is extremely abrasion resistant. As with most braids, zero stretch, highly sensitive. We're making it in 7 different colors: black, moss green, blue camo, green camo, slate gray, orange, and my favorite, chartreuse. Available from 8 to 80 pounds. It's already in some of the major retailers across the country. It's going to be available in more very soon, thanks to our friends at Pittman Creek. And the efforts of Eric Knickerbocker, who is our national sales strategist, who comes from a long line of expertise in the fishing line and fishing industry. So we're moving very quickly with our new Made in the USA hammer braid. You all have some here in your package today. I can't wait for you to give it a try. We'll be happy to answer more questions. Next up, this is really exciting. And I have to be honest with you, I believe that this is one of the main reasons that we were able to sign Bill Dance. Okay? Because Bill said this to me, and we all know, right? Over the last 10 years, there's probably more discussion about braided fishing line than anything else. Everybody talks about the importance of braid. It's no stretch, thin diameter, hook setting power, all those things, and it's all true. But there's still, and as according to Bill also, but even in the industry, there are a majority of consumers who still use and enjoy fishing a monofilament copolymer type of line. Okay? There's a lot of good uses for that. But there's some limitations, and Rex found a way to make it better. So here's the deal. The new TriPolymer. This is an advanced process using a proprietary 3-head extrusion process. Okay? I'll explain this real quickly. We start with 3 different types of nylon materials. A nylon 6, which is soft and supple, easy, long casting. A nylon 6/6, strong, durable, tough, it's going to last a long time. And a nylon 12, highly abrasion resistant. All 3 different parts and pieces make this better than a traditional copolymer. But here's the kicker to the whole thing. He's found a way to create this tri-head extrusion process. And now what happens, the big advantage here is that I'm not going to tell you that it is as invisible as 100% fluorocarbon, but it has very low light refraction. So if you put it on the scale now, we have 100% fluorocarbon here, TriPolymer advanced fluorocarbon here, monofilament way up here as far as visibility subsurface. So what we say about this, it's not fluorocarbon, it's not monofilament, it's truly the best of both. So you have a line that is virtually invisible underwater, but all the benefits of a copolymer and more because of the tri-head extrusion process. And here's the great thing. It's not priced like fluorocarbon. It's priced like premium monofilament. In fact, 150 yard spools of KastKing TriPolymer advanced monofilament are $5.99 at retail. So now, everybody can afford this product. Every angler can afford to use the very best if they want to use a monofilament-like product. They get the advantages of fluorocarbon, whether it's leader material or full reel spools, but it's priced like your normal premium monofilament lines up. Huge opportunity for us here. I think it's a real game changer within the fishing line category, and I believe you're going to be seeing this across the board at retail in the United States very soon. As a matter of fact, it launches today on Amazon and through our own DTC website. It's available right now, and we'll show you that. All right. So, in a nutshell, that's what we did. Those are, I'm not going to take any more of your time, but again, we'll all be here. Rex will be here, all the rest of the team will be here. I'll be here for questions. We'll certainly be back at the booth. And I encourage you to come back tomorrow at noon at the KastKing booth to meet Bill Dance. And ask him this, Bill, why did you change to KastKing Fishing Line? He'll tell you why he made that decision. After 43 years, less a 2-year interval in between, but after 43 years with somebody else, why he's now with KastKing. So we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy week here at the Bassmaster Classic. I hope we can answer more questions very soon. For myself, Al Noriker, all the team at KastKing, thank you very much. You're strong.